Hello and welcome. I'm Sinthropides, and today we're going to be playing Roadwarden. Now, this game is something I've had on my wishlist for a while. I just picked it up a few weeks ago, and I've been dying to play. I have had a small look, but I haven't really delved much. It seems very narrative-based, and to be honest with you, I want to kind of explore that with you guys, I suppose. What we're going to do today is we're going to have no video because I want to kind of be as immersive as possible. The art's really beautiful, and I thought it might be nice to do a kind of audio game. Probably this will be a slightly shorter stream than normal. You'll probably come to understand why as we get stuck in. Basically, the game is very, very text heavy, and yeah, like it might destroy me if I read for 3 hours, so we might just do a couple of hours and see how things go. But yeah, hopefully this should be good. We're gonna get stuck in though. So new game. This is just the general background that they give you, so I suppose I'll read it anyway. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept this struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays very well. I'm going to play standard. I was tempted to do casual, but I feel like I want to play it as it's designed with regular rules. I don't know how much the day limit will actually affect what it is we're doing, but that's what we're going to go with. Hopefully the audio isn't too loud from the game. I want the music to be loud, but I don't want it to drown me out, so I'll just pop that down a little bit maybe. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. This is a good sign. This should be the place you're looking for. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices and no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and peddlers. Maybe that's supposed to be peddlers? I don't know. But not beast folk nor trolls. And the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It's had a long day. So I've kind of gone through this one already. I think this is we're early on enough to actually be okay with doing this, but what we'll probably do is have a little peek in anyway. I'll look around cautiously. You doubt anyone notices the clatter of hooves. The short dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of the valley, but maybe you're a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which get denser as they climb up the hill. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. It's hard to believe it's the only route north. I dismount and sneak. Let's peek inside. Your heavy boots hit the ground, and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. It's the military camp. It doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit's cold. 2 people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a light-hearted drinking song from the city harbour. Yeah, I think we'll go in. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes and his beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson, but hers is a bit loose as it's taken off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are weary, yet kind, and she smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these 2 surely look the part, though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. I'm going to let them speak first. We're going to play cautious. It's nice to hear an unharmed traveller in this godforsaken shithole. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. The bearded man's voice is strong yet timid. He'll be staying the night with us, I guess. We're soldiers, he and I, adds the armoured woman. Her moment switches from half asleep to relaxed. We do our best to keep the camp safe. But if you were to take the first watch, it would be a huge help. Travellers ought to help each other, you say. You think for a moment. To fully rest, you'd need a good sleep. In fact, so with this one, I feel like logic dictates that you should do the first one. Now, there's reasons for that, but my methodology is if you're someone who's going into a camp and you're the stranger there, you kind of want to have first watch, I suppose, because you're, basically you're the stranger. So I'm going to go, sure, and we're going to take first watch. This might have some impact on us later on, but I hope not. But we will see. Sure, leave it to me. Did that not work? Okay, sorry. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. I don't remember the last time I had more than half a night's sleep. The hours before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us if anything happens. The man flashes you a wide smile. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. I'll try and do some voices maybe a bit later on, but I'll get myself warmed up first. Ask them about their lieutenant. You wonder how to phrase your question, so you can apparently affect the way that you speak to people with various things. We're going to go probably with friendly this time. Playful. I could just go with distanced. Vulnerable. Yeah, let's go with friendly. The woman lets out a long sigh, dusts off her gambeson and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I. Though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring the beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping a saddle. Long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. Yeah, sure, let's just go for it. Well, we will go with Sinthropides, I suppose, for this run through. I expect it to be one go through the game. We won't be doing this again, but we will see. I'm just going to take a quick drink. Her grasp is confident. The shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. There is this one issue. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. I think that's fine. No problem. I enjoy observing the stars. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle with a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquest in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too will be lost. I want it to feel at ease. It takes a few steps towards you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck with strength and confidence, just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals and even pets as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom, but you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse snicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time it starts to chafe. You wish you had something better to eat than this shabby grass. You should look for an inn. Hope the sound isn't drowning out anything, but please do let me know. I've just turned it down slightly. I think it's the music mixing is like sometimes it's really loud, but we'll see how it goes. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left, but maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions, essential for your trade. Now, so when I was doing, this is the big decision. When I was doing this on my own, I went with fighter because I was like, let's do something simple. But to be honest, I kind of want to do scholar. It sounds interesting and a little bit different. So I think that's the vibe we're going to go with. So I'm going to go with scholar. We get an axe anyway, so like, but yeah, it might basically make things a little bit more interesting, I would say. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here. Just in case, you take a... Oh, it's trying to get us to do the inventory thing. You take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations and knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. So it's telling us to look at our inventory. What have we got? A couple of food rations, a healing potion, some coins, a gambeson. I presume we're wearing this stuff. I don't know like how that works. Yeah, we've got a battle axe, writing instruments, a travel set, and alchemic ingredients. Yeah, this might be quite useful. Being this class, I need to return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. Yeah, I think we should probably take this free meal. Like, if they... What would be their motivation for poisoning us at this point? I think that they seem to be fairly friendly. Cool. It's called gruel, a meal eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is full of water, hog millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlement stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, and forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. I eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, then speak with Tulia, so we managed to get some food, which is good. Nourishment 3 out of 4. She focuses and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she's gathered her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8. 5 are dead, and 1 has run away in tears. We're also strangers to this land. The man leans forward, his legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I expect not that much. No soul governs these lands. So we can share what we know, or we can not. I think we probably share. They gave us food, right? You tell the soldier how little guidance you've received. Since this area is too far away from Hovlavan to keep it under control, you are warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? So, there's so much stuff we can ask. But let's go generally speaking. So, what should we know about the peninsula? Let's just go down. I'll tell you what I know and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I guess it will be 3 or 4 days. When he confirms, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Hovlevan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, and deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but not that many people live by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travelled to the roadside inn, pelted the north, they're happy to trade and to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? Man clears his throat. I mean, you know, we're to guard this road, this camp is our post, and well... don't take it the wrong way, Sinthropides, but are you a devout soul? Oh, interesting. So, this point, we get to choose, by the looks of it, our religion. So, the first one is the United Church. That's kind of the human religion. It seems like fairly stereotypical. I don't know. Then we've got the Order of Truth, a monastery that does its best to advance mankind's spiritual growth. This very much seems like what we would do as a scholar. So maybe we should go with this one. I'm from a small village. For me, it's the freedom of shell, pneuma, and soul are the virtues of life. Interesting. That's kind of like, seems like semi-paganistic, I suppose. I have a strong connection to nature. Oh, that one's pagan. And then we've got atheist. I think we're going to go with the Order of Truth then, which it seems kind of jam for us right now. I see. She hesitantly looks away. I don't know much about the River of Faith, but I'm sure we're not that different. I may unite myself, she says with a sort of pride in her voice. So she follows the United Church. The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials here. She starts to draw lines with her index finger as if she's pointing an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village and a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. Even as a priest who claims to be an eremite. You nod. She means a fellowship. They do crazy shit, the companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy their river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to mankind. Then we got a few options. We're able to speak to them. How about the east? Any monsters worth mentioning? Let's go with monsters. We saw all sorts of beasts, the man says, to count on his fingers. Goblins, treants, cats, large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spikeboars, mouflon-eaters, griffins. But we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with that mount. Julia glances at her companion. Though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. Okay, so I'm guessing we kind of need to absorb some of this information. So we need to remember that the trees will keep flying beasts away. And there is actually lots of threats. Don't promote them and ride fast. You can see why we're not eager to go there if we could avoid it. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to a roadwarden. The roads are dangerous with little to no shelter. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Julia nods. Pelt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeep or the guards and ask them about the road. And how about the east? There's off across the camp. It's hard to tell. We went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Okay, so wonder how much of this we actually have to quiz them with. Probably a lot. Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost a year. The soldiers speak a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy drowning things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, and write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yeah, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Tulia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in a basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him or his saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable, and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message. Neither one of us had any insight to his dealings, says Tulia. My predecessor left me no clues. We also took a look at Asterion's stuff. Wait, I almost forgot. He has kids in a village near Hovlevan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure. She glances at you, but I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We're meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Hovlevan together? You think about your real mission. You were planning to return to Hovlevan in the early fall anyway. If he's still alive, I don't think he's going to be going anywhere, taking away any of his possessions. That's fine. So, new journal entry, find the Roadwarden. We'll check the journals. We've got find the Roadwarden. Got bestiary. Oh, this is the thing. The problem with this is, I'll just get incredibly sidetracked. Saurian is as tame as vague as monkey and covers a vast range of four-legged creatures that resemble small dragons. They're kind of lizard-like creatures. That's pretty cool. Treants are tall, hard-skinned creatures with exceptional patience. What was the other thing that they mentioned? Howlers? Howlers are monkeys. Okay, fair. I don't think anything else was mentioned in detail, so we should be fine to gloss over this for now. Hovlevan, one of the greatest harbours. Okay, humans. We've met. Asterion's the previous Roadwarden. Okay. Quests. Find the Roadwarden. Okay. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything, and who knows, you might just find his shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears mail, using a spear mainly, maybe 5 feet tall, long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches out her legs. So find out what happened to him, dead or alive, and just let me know. So I'm not going to read this, but basically she has given us a rope, which is cracking. That was free. What happened to your squad? Bandits and monsters. A strong band, though. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in the camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and looked for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. If I'd decided otherwise, we would all have died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers, stay there at night, and lose everything you have. Sounds like slave hunters. Very much so. They killed some and took others away, who knows where. They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. It kind of worked, added the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp out on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate. It's not like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp. But we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage. At least we cleared the road and saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well. Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them just caught by a treant. Another one ignored my orders to outperform some kind of ritual hunt, so a werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us that he had a cut on his hand while cleaning his gambeson. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north and find a new life. Idiot. What a colourful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You've made this place safer. Barely. Tulia seems tired, and who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. How did you become a lieutenant? That's not much of a story, honestly. In the city, there's a strict order of, what can I call it? Leadership succession. Ovlavan chief selects commanders. Those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If a lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the soldier next in line. So you were his successor. Well, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped in to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shields. Really unpleasant. And you were the third in line. Basically, yeah. I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow, anyway. What was your squad's mission? You know, the usual, making the roads safe, keeping people alive. Can't really tell you. Let's just say it would have been nice to have a reliable outpost somewhere nearby. A place where you can always find a group of fighters willing to protect you in the name of the law. Now, if you have any other questions, anything I should know about this camp? The story's brief. Some merchants built the camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys. Plenty of grass and a pond. Camp was abandoned for a while. Bandits used it. But yeah, it says you can sleep here whenever you want. Although don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. If you were me, where would you go next? To the inn, of course. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall is free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more travelled. But the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how I can make a good impression? Avoid cheap jokes, stick to the trade, don't waste his time. Show him you can be relied on. I agree. And may you do better than Asterion did. You go to the barrel and splash water in your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. The soldier in the shirt's easy to guide you. Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, but they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes, though. They climb up and carry off food. And there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall. It's never tried to get in. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them the rope instead. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire. And the best place is on the watchtower. You may want to put a blanket up there or something. Oh, here. Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view of the northern side. The more dangerous side. And also, I know you're tired after all that riding. I can handle a couple of hours sleep on the ground if you wish. Go there after me and rest. Just like this. Just this once. At least I have a pallet inside. Thanks a lot. Oh, the animation changed. That's so cool. Get a drink. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, but the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time, your back aches, and you have to force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time, you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point, you see a three-horned deer trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a two-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a grey hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. Sleeping in a tent's not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much-welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of the realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula, learn about the territory, resources and threats, get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Hovlevan officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? I have time, about 40 days. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Hovlevan. There, you will report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goals to pursue. Ooh, so we get to pick some goals. We've got money. Wait, what? Money for a person we care about. Money for retirement. Connections among the leaders. To become a player in the Merchant Guild. Somebody who brought peace and order to the realm, a hero. I just want to help people and make this region safer. And I want a new life for myself. I've got a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. I kind of like the last one. Can't travel during the night, press the sleep button. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sound of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, although the pleasant, humid late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. All you can do now is rest. Spend the night in a borrowed tent. Cool. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No burning meat, burning rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you left them, but you can see an open gate. I go outside to see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to address you. Sinthropides, we use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell whether it belongs to a male or a female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveller or an undead? The latter. The young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. One more fog and she'll be a real threat. Even now, it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours, and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes time, but it saves lives. Tulia calls this undead a she. Most knights hesitate to do so. Running away from the reek, eh? I don't blame you. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. Those words make you stop. An old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales, and yet you hear no scorn in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to need in the days to follow. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double-check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey takes a long time. You put on your gambeson and make sure your axe is tightly attached to your belt, and then get in the saddle. The palfrey knicker is ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads north of here. Use the travel button to see the map to another area. Oh, cool. Travel forward to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak to Tulia and return to Hovlevan. Cool. Okay, let's go. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travellers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find a pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat and colour, and their temperaments are varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travellers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take a couple of hours. If you think about the conversation with Tulia, you've got a lot to do, and time may be of an essence. On occasion, you can use the scholar's education to unlock unique interactions. Oh, that's so cool. So we can press it. So there's two options, axe or stay, and then, or we can do this. I mix black powder with gladden that grows nearby and the dried skunk sorrel from my bag. I can ignite it and throw it at the griffins, and they'll scatter. Might as well do it. Most city folk feel an aversion to black powder, and you touch it with great care. The odor of the plant makes you feel dizzy. But what's important is that the griffins have wolf-like sensitivity to smell and noises. A few of the beasts turn their heads towards you as you approach the pack with a bag in your hand. You ignite your missile and throw it forward. At first, the creatures surround the source of smoke, but then growl in disgust, even putting their beaks to the ground. They flee, allowing you to continue your journey. I'm just going to click on this character thing then. Sinthropides, the Roadwarden. Okay, so we got knowledge and alchemy. We need some food. And a member of the Order of Truth. Our faith is undetermined. Yeah, there's not much there, really. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush, and the trail is overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write. For folks who can't read. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say. Danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. So this is, yeah, basically left then is where we should be going. But east, yeah, east is that way, so that would be bad. Ooh, cool, a horse name. Sodal's actually a pretty cool name. Let's do that. Sodal is peaceful as you stroke his mane. Maybe he can't help you choose a path, but you spent many years together. Happy to go on. It takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least a few weeks to get maturity. Time to take a turn. What do? Do we click? Something? I don't know. Doesn't seem to. Time to make a turn. Do we travel? Oh yeah. Well yeah, let's go the way that they told us to go, I suppose, for now. Sodal trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot bears, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. Oh, cool. Nice looking inn. Inns like this one fit the region travelled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away. The workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the buildings, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labour put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons, each one of them dyed differently. Yellow, green, and linen grey. A woman in yellow armour leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colours doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I hadn't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hovlovan. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard, wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveller, how hard is it to ride a horse? I think we go with playful, maybe. She seems like that kind of person. Get off your horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey. Then your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips and thigh. In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You must be in a good mood. The woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. Don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you to under a roof, which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready to go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and again as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head towards the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. So we got a new shelter. Cool. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with an accent. A city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I've a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, and cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today, maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare among the southern tribes, and his hair is unusually bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labour. The elegant tunic would stand out in the city square. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt of the north doesn't belong to Hovlovan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. So friendly? Yeah, let's go with friendly. He seems powerful as well, so. He meets your eyes with a puzzled look, then grabs a wet cloth and starts to wipe down the shelves. From time to time, your conversation is interrupted by splashes of dirty water in a bucket. Well, nothing is truly free. I have work for a soul of the road, but I don't need a new mouth to babble. He speaks slowly, audibly. I value my time and should value yours. I drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as chestnut. The lean spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. That actually drink sounds quite delicious to try. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'd help me with a worrying thought I have. There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike. But they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around, and I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Tace, the mayor, about Glaucia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glaucia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of that band. He looks at a nearby dragonbone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? I think we should milk him. Wow, he's not having any of it. That was hilarious. Okay, let's have a little gander. We should just ask him general questions for now. What can anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. But it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart. But the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived here in this inn over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just... Once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, but the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Well, there are hills nearby. Then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it. And they say it's haunted, but who cares? And who knows? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You get to a large tree on the end of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mention pagans, as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, sat in a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mouflons and druids. I think a mouflon's a type of sheep. They'll let you stay for the night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby, in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White Marshes, set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumours about that place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So 3 villages really. Howler's, that's the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if there's something he would tell of the travelers as well. Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend a night there, and monkeys stole food and gourds from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch, but, you know, the eastern forests are wild, the roads are rough, almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. Furthest my team has ever gotten was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks towards the window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler without coating. She lives as a hermit, Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you have decent coin, you won't find much there. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. I know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on foot, a bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place, close to villages of fishers and hunters. I don't know much about them. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help, but I do want you to find him, so... When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at the window and starts to play the shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he'd earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a road warden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in the White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. Okay. I don't expect to find an inn of this size in a place such as this. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers, bad trade. The villagers stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared. And now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need and more, both from the south and the north. We have a good life here. We spend a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, and spears. But none of the 10 or maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Hovlevan and not have to work another day in our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and have big plans for us. It's basically, I asked him about his the fact that he's got purple skin. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my ma died, he shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say I wasn't a part of the invasion, yet I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by the cities and their corsairs. I'm Layson, by the way, but I rarely hear the name. I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. For years I wanted to have an inn called the Pelt, but in my city it would be in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap and had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful. The good places used to be at least 2 words. Empty Barrel, Rose in a Helmet, the Empress's Smile. The Pighead was the exception, it was a real dive. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for, what will make us reach our goals. Okay, let's just see if he's got any food. Yes, I feed them to our boar. I wouldn't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending in a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long curved claw, almost black. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking. Ah, the berries are not the problem, unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook. And protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Okay. Let's just see if he has anything for sale. I don't know what we really need, but we don't have much money either. I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for our travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausages. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I've got an elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red bulls. Nice for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soap, priceless for a traveller. Made of fine oak ash, strong, though you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you'd like something more useful on the roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armour to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. A yew bow, wool cords, and the trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. It takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give it as a discount to a helpful ally. So, we can buy some stuff. I don't know, I think we have about 5 coins. We really don't have very much. Yeah, we can't buy anything. We probably should buy some more food rations though, right? An oak-based barn that burns skin on longer contact. Yeah, maybe not. Then again, the thing is, I know that our appearance can have an effect as well. I think we buy some rations. And we leave it at that for now. Okay, cool. So, let's have a little gander. What do we want to do? We don't have any money, so there's no point really doing any of this stuff. Let's go and do the berries. Put on gloves and walk through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock. The creature's not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you, the jabs of the hook keep them away. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a colour even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, and you should make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill your bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I noticed a shrub that's not like the others. One of the bushes in the back has more berries than the others. They're purple, and as you squeeze one of them, you recognize that these are marsh pools. In small amounts, they're added to pies, sauces, and beverages, known for their delicate sourness and sweet, unique, but not intrusive. Still, eating a cup of them will make one sick, if not poisoned. You're surprised to see them in a meadow so far away from a wetland. You could use them at an alchemy table if you find it. For now, you put a fistful into one of your jars. The others are still a bit greenish. Cool. That's awesome. You return to the courtyard. 2 of the guards are still participating in a friendly skirmish. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lines up the hall. Several guards are eating gruel and talking with the innkeeper at the stove. So, you again. Need anything? Great. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to merchants if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. And like I said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky. And I've been cooking my whole life. How did that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands. I don't think I'll be able to afford to buy it. There's no point, really, is there? Ah, I see. It's a nice one, isn't it? My guards once had to get rid of a pebbler. You can't really eat them, but their claws and bones are durable enough. And we put them to good use. For a moment, he observes your face. A single coin will be fair. I wonder if it is actually that useful. How many coins do we have? 4. I feel like we should buy it. Sod it. Let's go for it. I don't know. There's not much we can really buy right now, so it seems like, I don't know, maybe it'll come in handy. Also, we're a scholar, right? So we kind of meant to be examining things within the local territory. Cool. Let's go and speak to the guards. I don't know. A woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forests. It responds to the touch of a human's hand and brush with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts this charge would leave Sodal dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward. Sorry about that. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So, you're the new Roadwarden. She points at the window with her chin, forestalling questions. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats his back, but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins, or lose one. We could play dice or throw axes at a large target. Interesting. Sod it, let's do it. What do we think our guy will be better at though? Probably dice, right? Your arrival, and especially the dragonbone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. 2 of the guards bring a table from the inn, another one prepares a couple of stools and chairs. There are spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty at the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the other players. His face is deadly serious. The game is new to you, but in no way baffling. 4 people can play at once. The wooden dice are long, with only 4 dotted faces. Every time someone wins a round, they get a point, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins all the coins. As you play, you don't feel like you have much control over the results. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Sodal and Tulia's camp are also brought up. But when you ask about the roads or locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a poor beer made from the leftovers after the regular brewing. It's a cold and sweet, and it doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything. The boar may get sick, says your bald opponent. In just a few minutes, you get 2 points, which are now represented by smooth pebbles. You don't really know how you got them. Either you don't get the strategy, or it's just pure luck. Ooh, nice, okay. There's a strategy to this game, I can see it. I can't be sure I'll win, but I can play better than they expect. Cool. During the final round, you get ahead of everyone, and spectators playfully comment on your moves. The winner takes all. 3 dragons are placed on the table, and you put them into your pouch quickly. The table and chairs move back into the building, and the guard in yellow armor thanks you for playing. Is there anything you need? Cool. Have some questions about this place. We're just going to ask some stuff. Like in Hovlovine? Fair. We're only here to protect the gate. This stronghold was built long before we moved here, and it's not to fire humans. The tower was meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy has a great eye and sees well even in darkness. Any interesting creatures living nearby? Ha! Here? Everything lives here. She flips her head. I swear we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, faced 2 beastmen, oh, and a gargoyle and a hunting queen shout all the time. I could tell you about them, but I won't. You know, hunters have their secrets. How could you not be? came with us to the city, from the city, just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat. And it works too, cleans up the dirt. She reaches out to the beast again, but it trots away. The woman straightens with a pleased sigh. We haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly, kind of like ibexes. So it's not such a wild, dangerous beast. But we don't let it get close to other mammals or children. What do you usually hunt for? Anything we can eat or sell. If there's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat, we don't complain. When we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and yoruks are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's value in bones, antlers, claws, and tusks. These people used to make tools or sculptures. We use some of them to make tools and spears. You can never really have enough spears. And we look for furs, of course. I'm sorry, we don't really go into those regions. We stay close to home, only sometimes moving south or west to Howler's Dell. But only to trade. They're fine with buying more than they need, since they take wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never seen a beach, and I've been living here for how many? More than 10 years now, she giggles. The only part of the sea I've seen was from old Pagus, which is placed on a hill. I never put my toe in salt water. She looks towards the huntress, who confirms her experience is the same. But old Pagus is a good place. As long as you don't mock their order and act nice, they'll be all kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand, but at least they don't bite without a reason. You heard anything about the necromancers? It's something new. I've never been to White Marshes, but over the years we've seen people moving away from there to the south. They told us that the place hasn't changed much. A priest died, I think, and the new one awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden, that's all I know. You ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes go hunt south from here. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown, but the soil is different. But it's a risky spot. There are treants there and wolves, even furless ones. And if you have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There aren't many archers in the trees, but there are all too many worms, even larger than a water leech. Oh, what was that? Nah, Roadwarden, we use names and stories amongst friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage for ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good. Looking for knowledge about wild creatures. Well, I told you our knowledge is valuable. I don't know. 15 dragons, no less? Okay, we don't actually have enough for this. Let's go and have a chat to the armourer, not like we'll be able to buy anything. You walk past the well and find a small open shed, not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are two people sitting on a long bench. The first one is male, with maybe an inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. He ignores your presence, sewing a gambeson with great concentration. The second is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. Greetings. The man raises his head, but it's the boy who speaks. He ain't talking. Tell him what it is you need. The man smiles in confirmation, looks at the piece of garment in his hands, then looks around, shrugs, and returns to you with a raised eyebrow. I'm in need of your services. He nods, points to the laces, and raises his fingers to his shoulders, then gently spreads and lowers them as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his commands and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. For a few minutes he gives it back, then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, then another one, and waves both of them in the air, purses his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with an empty mouth, groaning what sounds like, I don't know. You consider his offer. So, yeah, we actually probably should do this. Good. Happy with that. I feel like this garrison could use some adjustments. Okay. He ain't that experienced, so probably not. Can you patch my clothes? He shakes his head. Oh, he's got a broken needle or something. Okay. Cool, okay. Well, we'll probably just leave it there. Go to the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to only use as much water as is necessary. You need at least one piece of bathing equipment to get more out of this place. Okay, well, we should buy the soap then. Yeah, because we're so disgusting. Okay, let's go back to the inn guy and buy this terrible soap. Good God. And then we'll go to the well again and wash. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin or mud stains from your clothes. Cool, awesome. Well, yeah, I suppose we're done then, really, aren't we? So, I wonder how much information you actually have in your archive. Oh, that's everything. Journal. So, quests. We should probably think about prioritizing as well with what it is we actually want to do. So we can explore the peninsula. That's general, so we don't need to worry too much about that. A new life is just me. Find the Roadwarden. I feel like we should do this first. I don't know why, but I've heard in Pelt that right before Asterian's disappearance, the innkeeper gave him 50 dragons. He was last seen in White Marshes, a village in the northwest. Howler's Dell. Howler's Dell's west. Okay. So everything seems to be pointing west for us. We need to go to White Marshes to find the trail of the Roadwarden. And also Howler's Dell is west. So I think we'll head west. We don't need to sleep or anything, do we? No, I think we're good. Cool. So west would be this way. Yeah. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention, not only to the shadows of the trees, but also the tight rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and find ambush spots. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. A broken gate in the north will lead you to the village. The sound of a gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building to the east, you see an oddly barren field. The palisade is in good shape, and the entrance wasn't even touched by fire. It was torn away, possibly thrown. The amount of force must have been huge, and you expect that it would push the gate into the village, not away from it. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could toss such large planks, After so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage? You can't really tell. Broken logs and planks are charred, while the wooden walls are rotted and covered in moss. You see no ashes or dust, proving that the fire happened long ago. The smell is awful, and there are no reasons to stay for long. You see no furniture, just some broken shelves. It was just a storage room. Some valuable odds and ends were already taken by scavengers. Do we actually want to look at the village? Sure. The buildings, some of which have collapsed, are made of wood, now charred and rotten. You spot claw marks in the walls, especially close to the doors with window frames. They could belong to a dragonling or a wolf, or a corpse eater. You find the remains of clothes, furniture, odds and ends. Only one object seems to be of use, a basket-like fish trap made of vines. If a large fish swims into it, it won't be able to get out. Cool. Nice. Okay. Main square? In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travellers. Yeah, this is way more than you expect. The houses are as big as in Hovlevan, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of expensive coated wattle. The tiles for roofs also had to be brought here from different settlements. You peek inside the three smaller buildings, rotting remains of their former splendour. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite commotion. You don't even find a single dragon bone or a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings and garbage. The well also stinks. There's no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. I should check it out. Repair my axe. You step cautiously towards the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I dunno wanted to come to this, but stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be it a shoe, a hand, or your damn thinker, I'll get a bolt. Who could this be? Relax, stranger. And you chose this place to visit from all they are? Even outlaws don't come here. Maybe you've told the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here and I have it pulled and ready, but you don't do anything stupid, right? No running, jumping around, show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence, but his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you can understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the doorframe and make sure that your knife is well hidden. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from the rubbish. The route to the upper floor is blocked by a collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rustling iron and steel on the ground detached from their now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tan, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. You wipe the dust off the steps, but before you sit down, you hear the man's annoyed voice. Now, don't get too homey. It's the only place here that's not just ash and debris, and I'm not sharing it. You better ride ahead. I've already piled up whatever hasn't run. Candlelights are dancing on his burned face and arms. He moved his crossbow just enough to make sure he won't shoot you by accident. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me. What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from North. Okay. I've never met him, but I'll sure heard his name a few times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first, people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead. Listen, I'm hungry, so damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I may be a drifter, but will beg if I haven't lost my bags. Oh god, I really can't give him food. Just my luck, I tell you. Well, I'll try to shoot down a bird or two tomorrow. I'm saving my bolts for the ape men, and because of those stinkers, I can't even roast anything, and raw meat makes me want to puke. Everything's shit, stranger. If you have questions, ask. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. Just ask him what he wants. I was in Howler's Dell, the closest village to the east and north, and people are nice, you know. Not like old Pegas. They're all boring and grimmer than a crow. Ah, they cry coin for everything, and damn good coin. I left wanting to look around the ruins, see if there's anything left. Then moved to Pelt and hire the hunters to help me there. No luck. A bunch of griffs jumped my pack bird. I just bought it. Fast and nimble, not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started. So I ran away with my bags. A few fell on the ground and I pulled them here, but you can see how it is now. I won't travel without a tent on my back. I need maybe a day more, or just a day, and I'll have all the iron scraped from the barrels so I can move forward. But I can't take all my stuff alone, and without me around, the Etmen are going to break in and steal my shit. I need to stay here, but since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Howler's Dell. How about it? I just need to know the road is safe. Safe as it can be, I mean. What exactly do you want me to do? I need you to make sure there's no danger hiding on the road from here to Howler's, or rather, I know there's some danger, but as long as you can get there safely, I'm sure we can handle some roaming monsters. He theatrically rubs his hands together. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers, and I've never lost a finger, Roaster, only the toes. Maybe to prove it, he starts to count his fingers. So see if the road there is clear and come back to me tomorrow and we'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. Don't come when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push through the night. Even sleeping next to an ape man tribe is safer. But don't make me wait too long. I can wait for a couple of days if I find some food, but if you don't get back, I'll have to risk it no matter what. I mean, I see your point, but I've never been there. Can they afford me iron? Do they have means to pay for it? I need coins to find a hardy bunch that will walk south with me. I need a new staff and bolts. I know the village, it's a nice place, it even has a smithy. Well, it's a shorter path, I guess. Fewer spots to get surrounded by corpses. If you're sure it's the best option, fine. I'll trust a Roadster's judgment. I have ways to pay you, don't worry. I can give you dragons, but we'll have to sell the iron first, so I'll need a bit of time, you see. 5 for a short escort would be plenty. But if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine. A very fine mixture that scares ape men away. Works on pebblers too. When you ask if all the stench of urine is somehow related to the potion, he just winks and chuckles. I'd also like to learn more about the villages you visited. He seems surprised. I mean, sure, but don't have connections there, just my eyes. You know, when you get to Howler's, you'll meet the mayor there for sure. Face. And you do. Don't ask where you got the coins from. She's rich, stupid rich. But don't ask her how this happened. Trust me. This village makes me sick. Death and ape men piss. Tell me about yourself. I've no legacy of tales. You sure there's no undead around? I've seen none. People say it's been less than 10 years since the herds came by. Well, don't know if anyone bothered with raising the pyres. If not, the dead are just roaming around the forest now. He clicks his tongue with frustration. It may be that there's a walker somewhere under the debris, waiting to break through like a dragon in an egg. You search the entire village. Basically, yes. Do you have any idea what happened here? No. He doesn't know anything. Heard about some bandits? North or east, maybe? Cool. Okay, let's have a little gamble around then first. Northern Gate. Nothing there. Okay, there's a tree. You don't find anything worth picking. The half-dead quinces of maggots crawling into their skin. The bottom part is charred. Weird. You look in the well. The closer you are to the village, the longer you stay around, the sicker you feel. The taste of your gastric juices hits your mouth. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. I was sick. That's grim. What the hell? What happened here? Yeah, we need to eat some food. Yeah, do we actually want to waste time here? Let's have a look at the fields. Barren field. Pasture. Don't find any sign of livestock. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through this because like we're not really learning anything in any of these things. So basically I'm just going through and seeing if there's anything interesting. There's nothing in that one. Barren fields. Northeast part of the village. Oh, okay, something's going on here. The debris was partially moved out of the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the garden. You find some fresh human footprints at the entrance of the latrine, most of which lead to and from the centre of the village. You notice a set of simple tools leaned against a pile of rubble. A wooden spade, a shovel, a hoe. All of them are too old and awkward to bother with transporting them around, but you know where to find them if you need them in the future. Colourful grass covers the entire fenced pasture. The large stone placed in the middle suggests it could be a playground for ibexes, or maybe it's just an old garden. You see a couple of small sheds, a latrine, a single building to the south, completely burnt down. All of these places were cleaned out by scavengers. Zadal doesn't want to approach the large ruins in the north. The terrible stench of feces and rotting food scares you off as well. Paths are covered with goblin footprints. It's daytime, so the pack should be asleep. If the beasts were active, they'd try to scare you off or hunt down your mount. This is their territory, and once they wake up, you'll face a furious enemy. The tracks of human footprints and many, many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the palisade's breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms, good source of animal or goblin food, that you'd expect them to hunt for birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. The grasses are already covered with moss and fungi. Going south, you reach a large field, though you don't see any crops. Shouldn't enter the forest. I inspect the clearing in the west. The meadow is lush and colourful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead Sadar with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. But being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely painted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. But cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of herds. Such a process should be spread around a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some of them black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep, with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water's cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dash of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realise there's something else buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground. A couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles and a large wagon are covered up with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them here? Okay. I can't leave for some reason. Yeah, I reckon we bail then. Let's travel away from this disgusting village. Probably not going to do much longer. So my voice is, I'm feeling the old burn of my voice here. So I think what we'll do with this game is we'll keep the episodes kind of shorter than usual. Yeah, and maybe I'll just do them a bit more often or something. We probably will do some War Tales as well, but I just kind of fancied something a bit different today. You enter the wetlands with their many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the grey, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger with teeth and claws is hidden below the water's surface. This plant should not be alive. Not without leaves. It doesn't resemble any other tree of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants. It smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or in the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Are these rocks originally as formless as they are now? Or was there a point in time centuries ago when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Dal is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with his tail. Whatever it is you feel in the air, it's clear that your compassion sees this place through very different eyes. Okay. You don't see any creatures. Approach the altar. There's clumped dirt and uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rain. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spiderwebs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. Cream-coloured limestone is cold and smooth. I don't think we should actually do this. I've kind of clicked it now. What do we have though? You step cautiously without knowing how deep it gets. You have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. As you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even a small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider's web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. Ooh, so the tree roots are moist and soft. What can we do with it? I don't think violent, doing anything aggressive to it would be a good idea. It'd be interesting to see. As if that worked. Interesting. Okay, well, I think we've examined everything here. Cool. I reckon we leave it there for today. We're probably going to keep going around in the kind of west area. I would say. But yeah, let's get it saved up. So we should probably. Is there any way we can? No, I don't think we can. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, yeah. I know it's a bit shorter than what we usually do, but it's really there's an incredible amount of reading for this game, to be honest. So it's going to be one of those where we are going to have to make shorter episodes. And also it means that we can go all the way through without a break, which can be quite convenient. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed our exploration so far of Roadwarden. It definitely is something I'm really excited to keep playing, and it seems really cool and fun. Definitely itches a particular kind of scratches a particular itch I have for this kind of game, and it's really nice to stream things like this because it means that your focus is undivided. But yeah, obviously click follow if you haven't already. I might actually upload this series to YouTube, so if you are watching on YouTube in a future time, then please subscribe and you'll get future videos like this. But yeah, thanks so much, and I hope you have a great evening. See you next time.